Hey YouTube, it's Friday, so that means pickup video. We're going to do another one here. A little bit of a streamlined pickup video because it's mainly two packages, one that contained a couple of cards and then one that had a nice card to finish things off. So I'll show that to you. One more thing I'll mention as well off the top is that we're going to be doing the live stream again on Sunday. So we're going to have that coming up on March the 7th. I kind of had to think about it, look at the calendar again. Should be right, March the 7th. It'll be 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Usual thing, we got one or two things to talk about, I think. We do have the, PSA raising the rates and kind of the downstream impact of that and people talking about it. And NSGC has come out today. And something I'll mention probably coming up here. SGC has also come out and re-declared themselves. So it looks like they're going to try to get their hat back in the ring, but they did raise their rates ever so slightly. So we'll kind of see and talk about how that's going to play out. But anyway, as far as pickups, like I said, it's two main packages here. One that had a couple of singles and then another one that has a nice card to finish us off. So first we're going to look at this one. It's going to be 2000-2001 Vanguard. And this is the high voltage insert. So we're taking a look here at the gold parallel. So that is numbered to 199. Number there in the corner. And then another copy of the same. So 2000-2001 Vanguard, and we're doing high voltage, but this is the red one. Same thing, but with red foil and numbered to 299. So we've got that going on. Nice cards. Good additions to that section of the collection. Fun to include inserts of that type. And then we've got now two cards from Paramount, two different years. So this is a 2000-2001 Paramount. This is going to be the gold version. Unnumbered. Straightforward. Not my favorite design. It's a bit plain. It's basically just the player with a white outline, but just the same. It was a clean one. I remember opening packs of that back then. And then this one was also pretty plain as well. And I do also remember opening packs of this. This was one where this was around the time that the Pacific was doing a lot of stuff at the Toronto Expo. And you could get your cards crimped with the crimper, if you guys remember that kind of thing, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then I remember going out of my way to get one of the show cards. And probably I'll do that in a showcase at some point, coming up at some point in the future. But this is the base card parallel, and this is the ice blue parallel of this one. So this was the 99-2000 Paramount. Again, sticking kind of plain design. But that is the ice blue, and that is unnumbered. Pretty straightforward. So 2 years of Paramount there. You can see kind of by that point, Pacific wasn't trying nearly as hard with the base cards. It was your mileage may vary depending on which sub-brand they went to, but Paramount here, like you can see, not too much was going on. At some point, I'll do a little comparison with the first year of Paramount where they were definitely having a little bit more fun with it, but what are you going to do? This next one is actually not too bad in terms of design. So these are two parallels again, but these are going to be 2000-2001 private stock. And not private stock titanium, but regular private stock. So I've got the silver for you. So it's got the silver border going on. It is number 220. This one, at least design-wise, I appreciated a little bit more. It was a nice setup and design for that one. And then here's the gold version. So that is numbered to 75. It's exactly what it sounds like, silver and gold. Straightforward in terms of numbering, straightforward in terms of design. But a little bit more going on with those. It was a little bit more fun to look at. Definitely a little bit more interesting. So we'll take those off the screen here. And then we got one more to finish things off here, so we'll move this. Now, this is one that has always been a little bit fun for me, especially in terms of the checklist, because Upper Deck has gotten the last couple of years into the habit of creating these sets where even though the card may not have been the original subset, or maybe the subset, the brand, inside the brand, is one of those things where they don't make it anymore, but they'll include it into update sets and things of that sort, or they'll include it in the cup and they'll include this other brand. And they've done stuff like that, where either they had the brand previously, or they utilize it in a different sport, something like Exquisite in hockey, where there has never been really an Exquisite hockey, but there's been Exquisite inserts that have been inserted into other products and things like that. Well, one of those products was UD Black, which they did produce for years, but in the last couple of years they have not. And it's one of those things where they've incorporated it into other brands, but I'll show you where it's created a little bit of confusion, I would say, in terms of trying to figure out where things fall and where they go into. So I'll show this one to you. So this is, it's listed as being from 2019, but could very well be 1920. It's a little bit tricky in terms of figuring out the exact spot to put it in. But this is a UD Black style card. This is an Obsidian Scripts purple, patch autograph, numbered to 25. So from a strictly design standpoint, it's still a nice design, although it is a little bit busier than some of the traditional UD Black. I've shown cards like this before where it's just the autograph, but this is the other one. And it includes the inscription, Magic Mo as well. So we use the silver paint pen, which is a little bit hit or miss on this design. And obviously it's a little bit busier in terms of stuff going around on the outside. And the purple's a little tough to see unless you get the lighting right. It's a little tricky to get it just right here. But you can get a sense. It is definitely the purple. The patch is decent. You got it numbered to 25, like I said. Now, these are thick cards for the memorabilia, but one of the things you got to see is in recent years, I would say, well, actually, I could probably go back further than recent. Maybe the last 10 or 15 years or so. What they've gotten better at doing, I would say, is they've gotten better at labeling on the back what brand and year it is. So it's one of those things. If you got a hockey card from the last, say, 10 to 15 years, you can always go to the back and take a look. And you'll see something like this. You'll see something like this, 2018, 2019 UD Black. Now, the problem is there is no 2018, 19 UD Black. They're in Obsidian scripts itself. It's kind of hard to locate and find. But for the most part, most of the time you can rely on this. Most of the time you can look at the back and say, okay, if it says 2018, 19 UD Black, or, 17, 18 the Cup, or 19, 20 the Cup, or whatever the case may be, on the back will tell you at the very least the brand. You might still be trying to figure out what subset it is. Obviously, most of the time you can look at the front and figure that out. But at least when you look at the back, you can say, okay, this is the year, and this is the brand, and then figure out the rest from there. And then you're pretty much good to go. With stuff like this, it's a little bit complicated just because they'll show something like 2018, 2019 UD Black, but there was no 2018, 2019 UD Black per se. Even though there's definitely some cards that have this design that match up with this concept of UD Black. With all that said, I kind of wish that they would bring back UD Black, but like proper UD Black the way they did initially. But, that's kind of wishful thinking on my part, especially when they can insert the cards into other brands and do it that way. Anywho, that's a little bit of a kind of a rambler side of a rant. That'll be it for this one, and I'll update you now on the totals, and we'll call it a video here. So without too many packages coming in this week, it was kind of light. But nonetheless, we made some progress. So now I'm at 1,963 unique Mike Modano cards with 169 autographs, including the one on the screen there. And then 372 memorabilia cards total. So making some good progress as far as those are concerned. This week's been a little quiet, which is okay. I think the next couple of weeks are going to start getting progressively quieter as I start winding down some of the big purchases. I will still have a ship my cards package that I have to go get, and then some ComC cards that I'll probably place an order for in the not too distant future as I start preparing, but we're going to get dangerously close, I think, to that 2,000 goal barrier. And then we'll kind of take a look at some of those other goals going forward and then see where that takes us. It'll probably be more of a shift in the channel towards a little bit of the vintage side of things, but I will still be talking about some showcases and still showing some cards here and there. And obviously, when we're doing the live streams and stuff, we'll talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. With that said, last thing I want to leave you with on the video here is with it coming up on Sunday, we're going to do the live stream. If there's any thoughts or topics, obviously I talked about the graded card thing. We've definitely got that. I did get a chance to see the video on Dibs, which is kind of it's another platform to do the fractionalized ownership model for sports cards. I have some thoughts that I'm going to share about that as well, so that'll be a thing. And then really it's going to be open to anything else you want to talk about, because obviously we've got a lot of little things going on. There was a new sale as far as a Tom Brady rookie card that we can definitely chat on, and then some controversy related to that. So there's one or two things going on in the sports card sphere, I would say, that are going to make things interesting. And I might want to take a little bit of time to have a little bit of fun talking about Brian Gray acquiring the rights to Pro Set. Because I listened to an interview talking about that, and the amount of excitement I heard about that kind of made me a little bit curious. So I'll leave you with this. Two things. Number one, do you have any topics or anything that you would like to talk about or address or have me address with myself and whoever may end up joining me on Sunday? So that's number one. And number two, is there any interest on your part? Do you have any nostalgic feelings about the brand Pro Set? I'm kind of curious about it. I kind of looking at it through the hockey card collecting lens. So for us, the legacy of Pro Set isn't exactly that illustrious. It's not really that big, although I do know that for football, it definitely has a stronger legacy. I'd be curious to see if any of you have any nostalgic memories or thoughts on Pro Set the brand. So I'll leave that as kind of a secondary question in case you want to take a stab at that one. Anyway, as always, comments or questions are welcome. We'll catch you, like I said, on the live stream on Sunday and maybe a video beforehand if I'm feeling inspired. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.